Join me now is Pricey Harrison. Thank you so much for being here. Talk about what the Democrats disliked about this bill.
Well, I think we feel pretty strongly that the electorate sent us here to Raleigh to focus on jobs and the economy and closing the budget gap. And this seems to be a very partisan, politically driven distraction, this debate on health care reform. It's going to require some expenditures by the Attorney General's office that we're not sure we even have. The Attorney General's already come out and said it doesn't make any sense for North Carolina to join the lawsuit. And the substance of the lawsuit really, the basis of the lawsuit really has no merit. And I think the public out there, while there are polls that show that there's strong support for various aspects of healthcare reform, although there is, wavering support on the mandate piece. But the mandate piece is what makes possible the shared risk that makes possible not denying coverage for pre-existing conditions, letting your children stay on your policy, all the popular aspects of healthcare reform.
Republicans talked about how other states were already on this lawsuit that's going on. Do you feel that North Carolina should be part of that, and do you think that those other states even have merit?
Well, I haven't read the opinions, but 12 cases has been dismissed in federal district court. 2 have upheld the law, and then there are these 2 others in Virginia and Florida that have ruled against healthcare reform. And I don't know that it makes any sense for North Carolina to jump on board. The suits are going to end up in the Supreme Court, and they're going to decide, and it just is going to be an expenditure of resources at the Attorney General's office that we can't really afford at this point.
Do you feel this is a rushed job?
Well, there is all that. Procedurally, we were really upset. There was no chance for public input. We had one hearing in judiciary and then straight to the floor. The Attorney General's office didn't even have the opportunity to comment. And so I feel like this really it seemed very politically driven, and it's just unfortunate because there's a lot of important issues we need to focus on, and this isn't one of them.
Wednesday on the House floor, plenty of discussion was had. Do you feel that people were able to get their opinion out and their feelings out, at least on the floor?
That was fair debate. Speaker Tillis did a great job allowing everyone to speak who needed to, and I think there was a good 3.5 hours of debate on the House floor. Just unfortunately, we didn't have the input from the experts and the advocates who understand the implementation aspect of this, the fact that the doctors are for it, how hospitals were impacted, all the various permutations of this lawsuit potentiality. It's just that we didn't get any insight on that because we needed the public input.
Do you feel Wednesday's debate, the common ground that was available for everybody to have a chance to speak, is that going to be what we're going to look for this session? Is going to be that ability? Do you think that's a good start at least?
Well, I hope so. I think Speaker Tillis has indicated that he'd like to have fair and open debate, and I think that's the way the chamber should operate. I think Speaker Hackney did a very good job of that in the his past 2 bienniums as Speaker, and I think that's the way to do it. I just think, unfortunately, the committee is where you have the deliberation, and we just didn't have the proper deliberation at that level.
One of the things that's happened recently is less committees, less restructuring of the committees, basically. Do you feel that that's part of the problem for this, or do you think that that's not an issue at all?
Well, I'm not sure. I think there probably some achieved efficiencies by consolidating the committees, and that probably makes sense. I think that with Speaker Hackney's tenure, I think he felt like if you had serial referrals that went to various committees, like maybe the Health Committee or the Insurance Committee, might have given it a little bit of a different perspective on it. I think that having the Committee of the Whole of the Judiciary was helpful because that got all the subcommittees' input, but I think having other eyes would have been helpful for this particular debate.
Thanks so much for being on here.
Well, I appreciate your having me.